Hello everybody, welcome to the 8th video of the Paifu review series. So for this year, we're updating the format and I'll be reviewing mostly Jade Room and as well as the Throne Room games if I ever hit Saint. There might be a few games I come across for Chinese that may also put up for review, like my 7th video, but let's just get started. So this is just classic Jade Room South. Looking at this high buy on East 1, the starting hand. Door 4. Looking very pog. So the goal of this hand is definitely just try to win fast with this hand and try to get away with the game. So start with discard. I'll be tossing the South first, but I'll be up to keep the Chung for a little bit and aim for either Tanya or Yakupai, because else I'll be lagging behind in terms of speed. So I toss the Chung next after 1 has come out. And at this point, I draw another 2, trying to aim for the Tanya here. And then going by efficiency, get the Chi here. The Chi and toss a 9. This is usually, if you don't have any Dora with this hand, you do not want this Chi, because it potentially puts this 2-3 weight and this 2-3 two-sided weight into a single-sided weight, because I'm forcing a Tanya here. So the 1P and the 1-man would not help me here. But with Dora 4, that's a different story. I just want to go as fast as I can, even sacrificing my weight quality here. So I'm fighting against Kamicha, who has now honed the east and Kan the north, and has played a west front hand. So I'm guessing that Kamicha might be in Tenpai at this point, so I really need to speed up my hand here. And also I scored a Kandora, so this is officially a Hanuman hand if I score it. Another 9-man discard from hand. So yeah, here's where I get to Tenpai. And I can pick weights. So it's either I toss the 2-man, winning a 4-man, and a 1-man with no Yaku, or I can champagne on the 2-7. Normally you do want to take a 2-sided weight, the Liangmen weight, just because of how wide it is. But in this case, because I'm going Tanyao, I'll discard the 3-man. Seeing that the champagne is more variable, was waiting on the 2 instead of the 4, and also by drawing another 6-man here, I can potentially improve the shape into a Hensuk Dimension, the 3-sided weight of 2-5-8-1. So just keep discarding. At this point, Kamicha discarded 9-6 from hand, so I'm really thinking that they're in Tenpai. So I drew the 6 as I planned, and I could keep the 2-7 champagne weight, but I opt to wait on 2-5-8, which has 7 tiles instead of 4 tiles. So big increase. I'm also waiting on a 5-man itself, although nobody will probably drop it at this point. Keep going. Him declares Richie, but I'm pretty much gonna ignore it. So unfortunately, we actually got punished here, but we can't think that this is a mistake, because we opt to choose the wider weight, and if we get punished by that, then it's just not reading the flow correctly, is what I like to say. But it is just unfortunate, but it's not a mistake, certainly. So we just discard it again. At this point, we're just like pushing. Now we draw the 4. Here's another interesting decision. So we could maintain our Tenpai this way, and still wait on 2-5-8, like we did before, or we can discard the 7 to stay safe. So the consideration being that while dropping the 7 will guarantee that I can still maintain Tenpai while on the 2-5 only, 3 tiles left, while still dodging the Richie and going Kamicha. But because my hand is Hanuman, I want to actually maximize my winning chance rather than, you know, not deal in and drastically lowering it. So I opt to just Tsumogiri here.
Done.
And unfortunately it deals in. Yes, I did decide to take the risk. And then they were waiting on 2-sided 1-4. So yeah, I decided to take the risk. The outcome wasn't favorable towards me, but again, I don't think that was a mistake on my end. Just because I choose to bet my hand, which is a Hanuman, against, you know, others whose hand I think is fairly cheap, you know, looking at this. Because I have all the Doras. So moving on to East 2. Looking like a fairly standard discards. After a few turns, this is why I feel like, you know, my hand's not gonna compete. Looking at everybody else's discard and looking at my own hand, my discard, I drew the 4th pair, 2-mon. So this is actually a point where I consider a 7 pair a cheat hand, because I knew that my hand wasn't up to par. So I discarded the 4, opting to keep the 2 as a safe tile. Discard the 2 as well. I could also have a option of going back to a regular hand, since I did draw into Ishanten on both ends for Chitoy and a regular hand. But I opt to discard the 3 at this point because it's a lot safer way to play the game. Of course, I could drop the 9. That will also be a valid option, I think. But I like the safety behind Chitoy, and I like keeping the 7-8 so I can discard them at any moment against the Clayman who discarded 6 early, and Shimocha who doesn't seem like they want Pingzi. So down comes out. So this is where I opt to keep a safe tile, and Shimocha reaches. So this is a decision I make based on, you know, seeing other people's speed in their hand and their discard to not go for my hand. So I just kind of ditched the 7-8, 8 being the Gambutsu for Shimocha. I could actually opt to go for a regular hand, but drawing this 5-mon, I just discarded. At this point, this 5P is fairly dangerous, so did not really want to push my luck there. And I'm ran out of safe tile, but having 3 7-mons myself, this is a 1 chance. Actually, this is a safe tile. Pardon me. That was a safe tile, so I just discarded a 9. So I just opt to fold. Pretty much. South being out earlier as well. Drop the 2. Because of Suji to the 5. And it's also a Gambutsu, right? Let's just fold. Not much to talk about there. Moving on. Alright. West. Got the 9 here. We stacked the Haku, that's great. We saw the Haku coming out from our Kami chat earlier, but stacking it means that we can actually go for a big hand. And counting our blocks. 2 blocks around Manzu, 2 blocks around Pingzi. A block around Sozu, and another block on the white. So 6 blocks. And I opt to cut the weakest block, which is actually seemingly like the 2-4 soul, but I can actually trim the block here around Manzu because this complex shape is already supporting an excellent block on Manzu. And typically you want to keep a block each if you want to widen your weight later, such as drawing into the 5S. But here I draw into the 2-mon, so I know that this is a very strong 2 block around Manzu. So I'm not unhappy about the Manzu anymore, so I discard the 4. Here, draw into the 5, kind of a shame, but it's still okay. Like, this shape is so strong. Like, waiting on Manzu. Also, I chose Manzu because Shimocha was discarding Manzu, like the 1-mon very early, and a bunch of Manzu like the 5 and 8. So I'm guessing that Shimocha did not need the Manzu. And yeah, my guess was correct. And I see the 3-mon coming out, so that was a nice poem, winning on 3-6p. At this point, yeah. So the other consideration behind dropping Sozu around turn 4 here was because I don't see, like, it's still early, but later we find out that the Sozu is kind of a little expensive. I think it was a Pingzi. So, but Pingzi does come out from both Kamiya and Shimo, so very confident about this weight. Should be able to Ron or Tsumo this one. And yeah, got it. On 117, moving on. That was Hakudor 3. So we're in lead, and we see this hand. We are the dealer, but at the same time, this is not very workable in terms of speed. So we just try to play it safe. Keeping some Yaku highs for safety as we go along. Passing the 8. We actually Tsumogi the Dora here. Reason being that pretty much we want to go for a Taiyo hand at this point, and want to opt to keep the 2 safe tiles rather than the 1P. While I could stack the 1P or draw 2-3P, the shape is still not very favorable, and I'll probably want something a little better than that. So I drew the 4, which is a lot better than 1 for this hand. Toss the Hatsu, opt to keep the pay here, the north. Now here I drew the 2p, and I'm seeing my 5 blocks already, so I need to trim my hand a little bit. So I have 335 as 1 block, 2 4, 7 7 8, 3 5, and the 7 7 8 here. So 5 blocks. But at the same time, I do not want to discard the north because that is probably the safe tile I need against any Ricci coming out from any of them. So I have to discard the 5 because it's more towards the center. And also the 2 just came out, so it will pass a little easier at this point. Now Toyman pawns a 3s and tosses a 3p front hand. And I'm actually guessing that they're either Ishan or Tenpai, given that so many middle tiles and coming out from Toyman. Also, when you see tiles from all 3 suits, the Souzi, the Manzi, and the Pingzi coming out, most likely high chance of them being in Tenpai as well. Now here I draw the 6. I can opt out to discard my north right now, or discard some of the other extra tiles. Now I chose 7p, but on hindsight, because of what I said earlier, I should have guessed that Payman is waiting on a tile already, so north might have been a better discard at this point as well, since I have no other safe tile other than AS against Payman. So I discarded 7p in hopes of getting a Sakigiri premature cut, preemptive cut, but that is naive and ideal in here, unfortunately. Although not too expensive, I guess, but that is a mistake I could have avoided. Moving on next. That was another fairly nice looking hand. Discard the 1s here. And I'm also looking towards a Tanyao hand. I want to keep the Hatsu, just because my hands are not too favorable. I can trim the 4s, in hoping to use a 5s for sure. Draw the 3. Now I can discard the 8. Oh, the Hatsu. I guess it's still, the 9 is still useful, especially when the 889 is not a very favorable shape. So I'll just cut like normal on this point. Again, I draw the 1. This time I opt to keep it for a while because in order to force a Tanya, I need to cut the 9 first anyways, and then we can cut the 1 based on the situation. So I draw another Hatsu, I opt to keep it. Also because I Shimocha on the Hatsu. Sorry that I missed that. So that's a 100% safe tile. But I do discard the Hatsu 1 turn after. And Ricci comes down, so I opt to discard the 1p. And yeah, we had a chance here, but we don't have to risk it at the moment, so we can just discard the 2s. Well, it's a 3s 1 chance. So we'll see what happens, because this is a potential Itsu on the Manzi if I can push the AP, but really depends on the draw here. And draw the 9. Now we could take Tenpai by cutting the 5-8 here, but since we did not get the Itsu, I mean, we just declare Ricci. If I draw 1-man or 4-man, the constellation will be actually a potential Dama on a 3-hand, but with a regular hand, we'll just declare Ricci on the 2-sided weight 1 4-man, which seemed pretty decent because it is waiting on the 1-man, the terminal tile. But Shimocha makes a call and tosses the 8, which happens to be Tuna's waiting tile, so a little unfortunate. But yeah, we pushed and we did not get the result we expected. But then they didn't get the high roll either on the 5s because that would have been Sanshoku. So we kind of dodged a bullet there. Moving on. Out 1, showing lead with a 31k. We'll opt to play like a little safe. Typically in Jade Room, you don't want to be dealing tiles recklessly to people. Can't help it. Now Ricci coming out early from Shimocha. And I just discard Gamutsu 7s push from Payman. Yeah, and for whatever reason, Kamcha decided to con that. Now, yeah, their hand wasn't ready, so I wasn't sure what drove them to con that. But that was quite a move there. But now we definitely opt to fold this completely, since dealing will mean an extra Ura being flipped, as well as an extra Dora present on the field. Just follow discards. Very straightforward. Let them small. unfortunately they hit 2 doras with that con. So that's probably something you don't want to do in the Jade Room game, is to open con that without a Tempai hand. Moving on. Now we drew this hand, thinking have a Hakuto. We just want to go fast at this point, since Shimocha is catching up. So we just try to cut by efficiency. Cut 8. We cut the 8 earlier because 8 is weaker than the 1-2. But when we draw the 6, we can just opt to keep it and cut the 1-2p instead. Draw the Dora. Now Shimocha opens a little bit. Pingzi is looking a little expensive, especially Shimocha with 2 calls on Pingzi. I'm guessing they're going a whole into a chain at this point. So just try to hold the Hatsu a little bit. Maybe don't let them Hong it. Chun came out earlier from Chayman, so I cut it. And Ricci comes out. Again, just pretty much on a course to fold here. I can just cut the Haku here, no problem. 6 comes out, I cut 6, and then Haku. 7 Gambutsu, sorry. So basically you want to cut Gambutsu when there is one, like the 4S, over the safer tile, which is the Haku. And yeah. And in a J-Room game where they were actually just sumo most of the time. Now, this is also a very interesting weight. They did up to tanky on the 5p, and miraculously getting that hand. That was huge for them. So they overtake us. We still have a chance. This is our dealership. Tossing the north. And we want to be holding on to Yakukai, see if we can stack it. But knowing that we draw 5 blocks in our hand, we just push like normal, pretty much. Drawing the 3 here. Now, I have too many pairs with this hand. I could just look at 4 pairs. I just try to trim this hand a little bit. Eventually try to settle with a decent shape, so I can maybe keep some safe tiles. Was a consideration behind it. Now draw the 7. So I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, is there any chance I can get some kind of Sanshoku going? Maybe not, but and try to not go on a Champagne weight. If you go on a Liangkan weight shape, the 357 shape, there's more chance I can get Paifu. So go with that. Maintain our Ishan 10 here. Draw the 3. Now just definitely toss the 6 here to see if we can have the 3-4-5, which is I talked about earlier. But 2 4S coming out, kind of unfortunate. And we cheat and we toss the 7S because it's already a little late, even though the weight is not the best. We need to kind of force this weight just because we're the dealer, and this is a good chance to overtake first place here. So just go with our weight. So 2 calls coming out from Tayman and Kamicha. Could consider that they might be in Tempai here. Discarding a north. A pair of 6 for a hand, and then followed by a north discard after cheating that would reek of Tempai, you know, for that hand. So we draw the 5. We can but we're just still pushing a 3-count hand at this point. And the Kamicha was the weird toss, suggesting that they're either with this shape, it's either Yakuhai or Sanshoku. But Yakuhai being all out, the Chun, the Haku, the Hatsu, and the north, as well as the south not being pawned earlier. So definitely, I'm guessing a Sanshoku on a 1-2-3, which is also very common, because the 1-2-3 shape is very easily to be fixed. So moving on. We do push with the 4 here. We just keep pushing. 2S. Start the 8. Well. So not everybody in Tempai. As I guess Kamicha is Sanshoku. Payman looks like a regular Tanyao hand. And Shimocha's Dama on a painful 8. Yeah, but I think it was a fairly decent push from us. Just because we also had like a very somewhat of a valuable hand. This is a 6k hand. Or a 5-8 depending on deal in or draw. So push that one. We don't get any money from them though. Now here the first cut. I thought about it. But maintaining Ishan 10 with this hand was pretty important. So definitely if I want to do that, either the 2p or the 6s. But 2p is a Dora, so I just cut 6s here. Hoping that either I draw near the Dora so I can ditch the 1-2s, or I can draw the 5 AP, setting up for a Suji trap very early. We draw the 6. We could toss the 2 right now, but this is a Liaoman weight. We don't need to reinforce it all that much. So just keep 2p. We got rewarded was the stacking on the 2p here. Now we'll keep the 6, 7, 8 shape because drawing a 5 man can also improve this shape into a Paifu. And Paifu was doras 3. Definitely a good dama in Jade room. So that was a hope there. We'll just wait for our tiles, pretty much. We draw the 4, so now we can actually toss the 1 here. Waiting for a tile hand at this point, because I can always ditch the 9. If I either call on 5 AP or call 3S, I can just wait. So now that we're settled with a tile hand, I just opt to discard 9, keep us safe. We cheat that. It was just pretty favorable for us at this point. We just wait. Unless they take a lead on us. So pretty much just ignore what everybody else is doing at this point. And now Richie does come down from Tame Man. And I draw the 7. So it's between a 4 and a 7. But 7 be out. I see 2 7s and I see 3 4s. So while 4 7 could be like a dealing for Liaoman at this point against Tame Man, the consideration is that at least if I toss a 4, I can dodge a potential Shampong. And also the 3 coming out earlier. So the chances of Kanchang 3-5 weight on the 4 is also very low. So 4 is actually safer than 7 in that regard. If it's a non-Paifu shape, I discard the 4 here. But definitely I just push. Like I draw the 5, double no Suji, I just still push. Because my hand is worth 11.6k. With dealer 430 fu. Not unfortunate. So actually, here's the other interesting thing. When there's 2, sorry, I almost missed it, but when there are only 2 draws left, so chances of me winning that is actually fairly low. Although the 5p was gonna come out from Shimocha, but 3-man being very dangerous at this point. I see only 3-4 months out, so technically it's a 1 chance, but 1 chance late game. So reaching on having a 4-4-5 shape, ditching 4, reaching on a 3-6 is very common at this point. And the late game like 1 chance is just not very reliable at all. So chances are with 2 discards left against 2 Richis. Sorry, also forgot to mention that Kamicha was also in Richi Kenpai as well. No Suji against 2-player, just super dangerous, even with my hand, because I have next to no chance of winning, so I just toss a 7p to guarantee safety. Let's say if I deal into Kamicha, for example, then and I pay, let's say, a Mangan, then the game is pretty much just over for me at this point. So South 3 is not where you want to be taking too much of a risk. I did go for my hand several times because it is worth a lot, but at the same time, we don't overstep our boundaries, so we just fold. And they did drop the 5p. Let's say if I push the 3-mon, like in the end, it did pass. It did pass, but it was just not a risk that I chose to take there. Well, we could also go back to look at this game. Sorry, this round. A little more detail. All the 1-mons are out. 3-4 mons. 2 mons. So I know there's no chance for a Penchan weight on the 3, but 3 and 6 both being Shumpai at this point is just very spooky. So definitely, I feel like feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like not pushing 3-mon was definitely the smarter choice against potentially 2 or even 3 people that's in Tenpai. So I did lose 3k for no 10 payment, but it's better than paying a deal in hand, in my opinion. So moving on to South 4. Now this is probably the round we need to win, seeing that there's 2,600 points on the table. Payment is in first place and I'm in third place. So even against last place, I'm kind of in jeopardy if they manage to small a Mangan. So kind of have to push this hard and a little harder, while also opting for safety. So we just keep honors and win that's being honors that's being cut once and my own win. So fairly safe push at this point. We just slowly discard the honors. at this point. Hopefully we can stack up on our 5th block. Now here we see the 3P. We opt to chi it. We just need to raise for speed. And as soon as I chi, I know this is pretty much a Tanyao or Yakuhai, but I opened twice. Also, the other goal is to put pressure on board. So Kamicha, I don't give Kamicha any chance of coming back from their 4th place. Is also the consideration. 9P. Now drew the north. Now I could opt to just discard north and come into Tanyao, but keeping the north means that I can advance my Shanten by 1. So I just discard a 3-mon. Confirm on the Champong here. Also, the other consideration being that if I draw the 4S, I can also just ditch the north. And keeping a pair of north before Tenpai is safe. If a Richi comes out from Shimocha or Timen, then I can just ditch north. But I see the north here from Shimocha, the last one, so I just own it. Sorry, the 3rd one. Last one, the one that was cut was honors, so it was not the north. It did come out earlier, so that is the last one. Yeah. Pardon me. Kind of hard to do this improvised sometimes. I apologize. Moving on. So we're just waiting. Now, at this point, we're pretty much not folding. Usually, you do not want to push a red 5 against the potential Dama hand, especially on South 4, where yeah, there could be Dama, but I see the 8P coming out from Kamicha and the recent 2P coming out from Timen. So I'm thinking at least it's a kind of a Nakasuji against Kamicha, if anything, and Katasuji against Timen, as well as a Shimocha. So if I do on the 5, worst case is a Paifu, and they had to have like a Paifu Tanyao Dora plus this Aka in order to, well, even then it's like a Mangan. So the guy I don't want to deal in, Kamicha, it's Nakasuji against them, so pretty much impossible for a Paifu weight from them. So if I deal in the Mangan here even against Chaimen or Shimocha, it's also okay. So I just decide to push this 5 right here. Pretty much I'm not folding. And Chaimen Richis even, again, same consideration that even if I deal into Mangan, it's okay. Because I'm in 3rd place either way. So I just decided to push all the way. Even the 6P here. Technically a double no Suji. 1 chance on the 6-9, but again, Kamicha has to push. I know Kamicha, because Kamicha has to push that 7-mon against the Richi, because they are in last place. So we actually take that and scores a clutch 1st place. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, give a thumbs up or like if you enjoyed it. Really appreciate it if you also subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.